What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video, continuing the Toronto Maple Leafs 2021 player previews. There's only a couple left, unless I'm forgetting some people, which is a possibility because I've done so many of these videos, filming so many of them at a time. But it's been a lot of fun because this is my team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. But this is Alexander Barabanov. Now, some people probably are like, who is that? They signed him out of the KHL. He was actually a guy that a lot of teams wanted. I believe it was like 20 plus teams that were interested in him. He's a very, very talented bottom of the lineup type of player where he can do a bit of everything, and I think he's going to help the Leafs quite a bit in terms of the way he plays. From what I've seen. And from what I've been hearing about him, I also just think that his cap hit makes sense. And, signing a guy that's been wanted by so many different teams is always a good thing because, he's going to be effective if so many other teams are sharing the same thoughts as you. 20 plus teams thinking that, okay, this guy's good enough to be in the NHL, let's sign him. So definitely a good thing. So before we get any further into this, make sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Lots of content coming as the season is right around the corner. I'd really appreciate it, trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. But again, if you just want to watch and you don't want to subscribe, that's completely cool. Just make sure to like the video. I would appreciate that. But let's get into some numbers here. Hopefully you guys are seeing this. Well, I'm going to pump this up a little bit. This is probably a lot better. But Barabanov, of course, 26 years old, so he's not like really young, but he is a younger player that you can sign out of the KHL. Definitely got some good numbers here. He's played with some very talented players in the KHL. Last season in 43 games played, he had 20 points. Pretty decent numbers. I don't mind that. The 18-19 season, 46 points in 58 games played. In the Olympics in 2018, he had 2 points in 6 games. And then the World Junior U20 Championships, he had 6 points in 7 games played back in 2014. So not numbers that are crazy, but good enough numbers where his transition to the NHL should be pretty decent. Now, his cap hit, like I mentioned, $925,000. This isn't a big cap hit. This is a very low-risk move for the Maple Leafs on a one-year deal. Just a depth forward. This guy is going to be probably playing a little bit on the third line if they need him to, but mostly on the fourth line. From what we've been seeing, he could be replaced if he's not performing up to the way that the Leafs want him to. But from what I've seen and from what I've been hearing, and we'll get into a little bit of a scouting report from Dover Prospects, but he is not afraid to get a little physical. He's not afraid to get into the corners. He's a quick player. He does a bit of everything really well, which is good. But, 5'10", 192 pounds doesn't jump off the page at you. But he doesn't play small. He plays bigger than he actually is. And I know Leaf fans love that. But he's not, they're going to look at him and think, oh, okay, shorter player right into Dubas's style. No, he is skilled, but he's not afraid to do a little bit of everything. He's not afraid to get into corners and stuff like that. But I wanted to look at another report here, just so you guys had a little bit more than just what I'm saying. But you guys can, go on YouTube and watch his highlights or look up any of this stuff and make your own judgment. But I do believe that this is a smart move for the Leafs. So this was in April of 2020. So after weeks of speculation, the Maple Leafs have signed KHL notable Alexander Barabanov to a one-year entry-level contract. There were reportedly over 20 teams interested in gambling on the talented winger, putting up 20 points in 42 KHL games in the 2019-2020 season. Didn't jump off the page, but the winger is hardworking and skates well enough that his NHL transition is relatively low risk. He isn't an elite talent, but he does have good enough hands to finish off plays and contribute points. Expect a look in the bottom 6 right out of camp, replacing a name like Dennis Malgin. And that's the thing. The Leafs wanted to bring in guys at a cheaper contract that weren't just, a one-trick pony. Like, they weren't just doing one thing. Like, Malgin has his good analytics stuff, but he's like, and you have to get into some deep analytics because Malgin actually is a very popular player in terms of, some analytics, but he's not providing some of the other things that the Maple Leafs need him to do, whereas a guy like Barabanov can do a little bit of those things, and that's why he is going to replace a guy like that and play better than him. Just just how I look at it. But his spot on the roster won't be guaranteed, but his low cap hit helps his case, and he will come into camp stronger and with more professional experience than the Marlies currently on the cusp of breaking in. So basically, he has more experience than guys that are not, in the NHL right now, guys that haven't been given the shot at playing like truly professional hockey against older guys and stuff like that. Like the AHL is there, but like the KHL, there's a lot of really good talent there as well. So he is going to have a chance to play ahead of guys that have played on the Marlies. Now, what people need to not expect is the same results as Ilya Mikheyev, who was producing at a higher rate before jumping over, but previous Russian free agent success certainly indicates the potential for immediate fantasy relevance, because this deals with like fantasy hockey and stuff like that. But I'm excited to see what he brings, just because it is kind of a guess, and the biggest thing that you need to look at when it comes to Barabanov is low risk. Excuse me, Jesus, I don't know why I keep my burping this morning, but he is low risk. He's very low risk. You're bringing in a guy that's cheaper. He's going to give you what you're looking for in the bottom six. And if he doesn't, you can replace him. And maybe he goes back to the KHL. Maybe he plays somewhere else. Maybe he gets traded, get another option. But I think the Leafs love his depth. I would expect him to be on that fourth line pretty much the whole season, just based off the fact of from what I've seen. He is talented. He's very talented. And again, the Leafs want guys that can go into that bottom six and play a different style of game, play a little bit rougher, maybe play with a little bit more size, even though he isn't that big. But what I would advise you guys to do, and please do it, because, just watching me or hearing one, little observation from Dober prospects is not going to give you a full, detailed explanation. You need to see clips, you need to see highlights, you need to see as much as you can. Go and look up some of his highlights and stuff like that, because he is pretty impressive. I really like the way he plays. I just think that he's going to be able to come into this Toronto Maple Leafs team and, like I said, give them something that they need in their bottom six, which is a little bit of everything. Not just a guy that can go in there and look good on the analytics. They want him to go in there and actually provide something. They want him to go in there and have a little bit of skill with a little bit of that, gritty play to keep up with some of these tougher guys on the fourth line and be able to, make them some space for themselves and put up some points. Because if you can get a guy on that fourth line that can play at a decently high skill level, look at if he gets a chance to play with guys like Jason Spezza or like Wayne Simmons, there's going to be ice created for him. They're going to be good on the forecheck. Spezza can set guys up. Simmons can be out front of the net. That'll be a good fourth line. So I think the Leafs are excited about the depth, and Barabanov provides it. So make sure to go and check all those stuff out yourself and make your own observation. But if you are new, make sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.